The first report arrived as a statistical error. At 0317 Galactic Standard, the outer survey array around the Perseus Verge registered a gravitational wake inconsistent with any catalogued vessel class. The automated system did what it always did. It queried the Imperial database. No match found. That phrase alone was not unusual. The galaxy was wide, and minor powers were inventive. But the wake was large, monumentally large. Its mass shadow bent local starlight by measurable fractions, like a moon gliding between suns. The array queried again, this time expanding its parameters. Ancient hulls, lost civilizations, theoretical megastructures. No match found. The alert escalated. On the bridge of the Imperial dreadnought Radiant Dominion, Admiral Saren Valek studied the projection in silence. The Perseus Verge shimmered in holographic light, a spiral arm's thin outer edge dotted with mining colonies and relay stations. At its boundary, a distortion swelled like a bruise in space. "Could it be natural?" he asked. The science officer hesitated. "Admiral, the wake is accelerating." Natural phenomena did not accelerate with intent. Valek felt the faint thrill of unease. The Empire had ruled for 12 millennia. Its fleets patrolled 80,000 systems. There were no mysteries left, only rebellions and trade disputes. "Identify origin," he ordered. The array attempted to trace the vector back across light years. The data blurred, scattered, folded. "Origin point returns null," the officer said softly. "The path doesn't intersect with any known gate, slipstream corridor, or inhabited region." Valek leaned forward. "You're telling me it came from nowhere?" "I'm telling you, Admiral, it is not found in any database." That phrase, now spoken by a living voice, carried weight. Within the hour, the High Council convened in orbit above the capital world of Terran Prime. In the vast amphitheater of polished black stone and drifting holograms, representatives of 100 species regarded the central projection. The distortion grew. "An unknown fleet?" murmured Counselor Threx of the Vey Collective, his bioluminescent frills dimming. "From beyond charted space? Impossible," said Matriarch Hellion of the Averi Dominion. "There is no beyond. We have mapped the spiral arms." "Then it is internal," countered another, "a secessionist faction with new technology." The Emperor himself did not speak at first. He watched. The projection zoomed. At last, shapes resolved within the distortion, angular silhouettes sliding in formation. They were vast, longer than Imperial capital ships. Their hulls were dark, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. No transponder codes, no language pings, no signature emissions except propulsion and gravitational manipulation. The Emperor's voice carried across the chamber, calm and resonant. "Send the human fleet." A murmur rippled. Humanity had been within the Empire for only 3 centuries. They were recent compared to ancient member species, but they had proven useful, adaptable, aggressive, creative in war. The humans had once ruled only a minor cluster near Sol. They entered the galactic stage loudly, clashing with neighbors, innovating under pressure. When the Empire absorbed them, it did not extinguish their military traditions. Instead, it cultivated them. The Terran Defense Armada had become a spear point, experimental, audacious, occasionally reckless. If something unknown approached Imperial territory, the humans would meet it first. On Mars, in the shipyards orbiting the rusted world, Fleet Admiral Mara Kincaid received the summons. She stood on the command deck of the battleship Indomitable Horizon, watching swarms of drones weld fresh armor plates along its spine. Beyond, the human fleet assembled. Carriers, cruisers, destroyers, the newest dreadnoughts bristling with spinal lances. The message from Terran Prime was brief. "Unknown fleet, not in database. Intercept at Perseus Verge, assess and neutralize." Kincaid read it twice. "Not in any database," she murmured. Her chief of staff, Commodore Ilias Rao, shrugged. "First time for everything." She smiled faintly. "Or last." Within hours, the Terran armada departed. The Empire watched. Imperial observers had grown accustomed to human theatrics. Terran ships did not glide with elegant anti-grav fields like Averi vessels. They burned, they flared, they cut through space with brute force drives that left scars in subspace. At the Perseus verge, the gravitational distortion continued its approach. The unknown fleet did not change course. Kincaid ordered her forces into a defensive crescent anchored on the mining world of Helios Reach. The colony's population had already been evacuated via gate. She opened a channel on all known frequencies. This is Fleet Admiral Mara Kincaid of the Terran Defense Armada, operating under authority of the Galactic Empire. Unidentified vessels approaching the Perseus verge. You are entering sovereign space. Transmit identification and intent. Silence. The unknown fleet did not slow. Range? She asked. 3 million kilometers and closing. Composition? At least 50 capital-scale hulls. Energy readings off the charts. Targeting systems? Active. Kincaid exhaled. All ships, battle stations. Across hundreds of human vessels, klaxons sounded. Crews sealed bulkheads. Railguns spun up. Missile silos opened like metal flowers. In orbit of Terran Prime, the High Council watched through a live feed relayed by quantum entanglement. The Emperor's eyes were fixed on the tiny icons representing human ships. The unknown fleet crossed the engagement threshold. They did not hail, they did not posture, they fired. The first volley was not plasma, not kinetic, not anything catalogued. A ripple moved through space itself, a distortion wave that seemed to fold dimensions. It struck the outer screen of Terran destroyers. 5 ships vanished, not exploded, not broken, gone. Where they had been, only a faint afterimage shimmered before fading. "Report," demanded Kincaid. "Multiple vessels lost." Rao's voice was tight. "No debris, no radiation spike. They just—" Another ripple. This one struck a cruiser. The cruiser's hull stretched, elongated, then collapsed inward as if crushed by an invisible fist. The implosion released a burst of light, and then nothing. The Imperial database, observing through sensors, attempted classification. Unknown energy form, unknown weapon class, no match found. Kincaid's jaw clenched. "Return fire, all batteries." The Terran fleet answered with fury. Railgun slugs accelerated to fractions of light speed. Missile swarms blossomed, each warhead carrying fusion cores and antimatter charges. Lances of coherent plasma carved through vacuum. The barrage engulfed the leading unknown vessel. For a heartbeat, it vanished behind human firepower. Then the fire cleared. The alien hull remained. Its surface rippled, absorbing impacts like water swallowing stones. Railgun slugs disintegrated before contact, their kinetic energies siphoned away. Missiles detonated harmlessly meters from its skin, their blasts bending aside. "Shields?" Rao whispered. "No shield envelope detected. The hull itself is reconfiguring." The unknown fleet adjusted formation. They spread into a sphere around the human crescent. Kincaid felt the first flicker of dread. "They're hurting us," she said. A third ripple erupted, not from a single vessel, but from all of them in unison. A lattice of distortion waves intersected the Terran formation. Ships began to die. A carrier fractured along its spine, its internal hangars exposed to vacuum before the entire structure sheared into fragments. A dreadnought's engines flared, overloading, then tore free as if ripped by unseen hands. Human countermeasures flared, electronic warfare, countergrav pulses, emergency microjumps. A handful of frigates blinked out of local space, attempting short-range jumps. None reappeared. In the council chamber, silence reigned. The Emperor's claws tightened on his throne. "Why are they not adapting?" hissed Matriarch Hellion. "Humans adapt." "They are adapting," the intelligence director said, "but our predictive models, they cannot anticipate weapons without precedent." On the battlefield, Kincaid steadied herself. "Focus fire on one target," she ordered. "Concentrate everything. Break their line." The indomitable Horizon pivoted, aligning its spinal mass drive with the nearest alien capital ship, energy built, humming through the deck. Fire! The projectile launched, a tungsten rod the size of a building, accelerated to relativistic speed. It struck. For the first time, something changed. The alien hull dented, a flare of exotic particles erupted, the vessel wavered in its formation. Cheers burst across Terran channels. "Again!" shouted Kincaid. Before they could fire, a focused distortion beam lanced from the damaged alien ship. It cut through the indomitable Horizon's shields as if they were mist. The beam struck the forward hull. Metal vaporized, compartments decompressed, thousands died in an instant. Kincaid was thrown from her feet as the deck buckled. Emergency fields sealed the breach, but the bridge was a ruin of sparks and smoke. "Damage report," she coughed. "Forward battery